Tonight's result ripped up every expectation. A fourth-tier club with a fraction of the resources marched out of the undergrowth and delivered one of the most humiliating cup exits Manchester United has ever endured. A 2-2 game that ended in a 12-11 penalty marathon and a history-making Grimsby celebration that will live on in cup folklore. The shock of a League Two side holding its nerve to beat one of England's most storied clubs in a shootout didn't just produce headlines. It reprogrammed the entire mood and stakes around the Carabao Cup draw that followed, because when David actually hits Goliath in the jaw, every Goliath wakes up. What we saw on the night was not a fluke of weather or refereeing. Grimsby took a 2-goal lead, Manchester United clawed back, and the drama rippled into penalties where the smaller clubs showed extraordinary composure. Moments like those do more than knock a team out of a competition. They infect belief, and belief spreads. For every lower league side now watching the third round, tonight's result is evidence that the gap can be bridged at least for one night, and that changes the psychology of every tie the rest of the way. And the timing couldn't have been more volatile. The third round draw that followed placed elite clubs like Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City into ties where the perceived advantage is narrower than expected. Because home for a hungry lower league side with a packed ground and a need to make history can feel like a pressure cooker for elite squads rotating players. The draw produced some instant fireworks on paper. Port Vale will host Arsenal, Lincoln City are drawn to face Chelsea, Liverpool will meet Southampton, and those fixtures carry risk. A big club's routine rotation, trimmed match sharpness, and heavier expectations collide with underdogs who have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So what should you watch for in these ties? First, the manager's selection. Coaches juggling European obligations and league starts are tempted to rest stars. But tonight showed that weakened lineups can be fatally exposed if the opponent brings intensity and belief. Second, the venue. A raucous, narrow stadium with a hostile crowd can compress superior tactics into chaos. These cup nights favour intensity over system. Third, set pieces and mental toughness. Penalties, late set plays, and the ability to stay calm under pressure will decide ties more than possession stats. Remember, Grimsby's route to victory hinged on composure after 120 minutes, not on technical dominance. There are a few storylines that now leap off the draw. A Port Vale home tie against Arsenal is not a guaranteed stride into the next round for the Gunners when the home crowd and small pitch bite. Lincoln's trip to Chelsea will test whether a Championship or League One intensity can unsettle an elite club, and for Liverpool, hosting Southampton means a derby-tinged tie where familiarity breeds danger. Each of these fixtures can become an instant classic if the underdog brings the same belief Grimsby did tonight. Those are the ties to circle on your calendar, and the ones that could make pundits eat their pre-match predictions. We should also note how this changes bigger narratives. For managers, a single defeat like this increases scrutiny and forces tactical answers. For squads, it raises questions about depth and leadership. For fans, it injects the unpredictable theatre that makes cup football uniquely addictive. If you love football's capacity for drama, this moment is a reminder that the sport still belongs to nights. Nights of noise, of sudden heroes, and of stories that no spreadsheet could predict. Expect the third round to be brimming with those stories, and don't be surprised if we look back on tonight as the day the Carabao Cup's narrative turned from predictable to poisonous for complacency. So, what's the takeaway? The draw has gifted the football world a packed set of narratives. Big clubs who must reprove themselves, smaller clubs whose belief has exploded, and a tournament that now has teeth. If you're making bets, watching for shock value, or just craving compelling football television, circle the third round dates and watch how managers react. Lineups will tell the story before kickoff. If a big name side shows too much rotation, history suggests an underdog with momentum will smell blood and strike. Tonight wasn't just a result, it was a warning shot that the early season can be as brutal as it is beautiful.